us also live on Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook, 3FM 92.7. Coming up in the next 1.5 hours, a National Executive Committee and National Council of the governing New Patriotic Party accept proposal by flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for Menchia South MP and Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh to be the party's running mate.
Also in the bulletin, Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu dismisses petition seeking the removal of the Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabeng from office.
Also tonight, National Democratic Congress NDC accuses President Akufo-Addo and Chief Justice of conspiracy to park the Supreme Court, saying move is illegal and violates 1992 Constitution. Remember, we're streaming live on 3FM 92.7 on Facebook. Your comments are welcome. We'll go into the details of the stories, but Grace Hamwa-German is here with the summaries. Grace?
Hi, Beatrice. Let's begin from here. The Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has thrown out the petition purportedly submitted by former Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu for the removal of his successor Kisi Ejabeng from office. 3 News reliable sources say Justice Tokonu said the factual and legal foundation of the petition falls short of the standards required to establish a prima facie case for the removal of the Special Prosecutor. In the petition, it was alleged that the Office of the Special Prosecutor engaged in procurement breaches in the purchase of vehicles and abused judges. Other allegations include violations of citizens' rights through arrests and detentions, violation of rights to information, and improper appointment of personnel to the office. Away from that, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Kufu-Dampare, has warned against the spread of disinformation ahead of the December 7 polls. He sounded the caution at Alisa Hotel today during an engagement with an eminent group formed by the Christian Council of Ghana. He stressed the critical role of accurate information in maintaining peace and security, urging Ghanaians to verify information before sharing to avoid the harmful effects of disinformation and fake news. So Dr. Dampare highlighted the potential dangers of disinformation, stating in the current era of rapid information exchange, managing misinformation, disinformation, and fake news is crucial. The Trades Union Congress, TUC, is to set up a Ghanaian local labor bank. The bank is to provide soft loans to all members under the TUC. Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yalban, disclosed this when he spoke at the 11th Quadrennial Conference of the GPRTU at Gomafete in the Central Region. According to him, the labor bank will serve 2 purposes by providing loans for their members so they are able to procure a house or purchase a vehicle. That's it for the news summaries.
Thank you very much, Grace Hamwa-German.
Breaking news on 3FM 92.7.
And this is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Breaking news coming in. The National Executive Committee and the National Council of the governing New Patriotic Party have accepted proposal by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh to be his running mate for the December 2024 polls. Remember that last week, the flag bearer informed President Akufo-Addo of his choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as his running mate. Listen to the NPP General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong announcing the decision a few minutes ago.
That in the last couple of weeks and months, some part of the country did face some power challenges. But the good news is that, unlike in the past, particularly under His Excellency Dramani Mahama, where he slept in darkness for over 4 years, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh ensured that the recent power challenges we experienced did not last beyond 3 months. It's indeed result-oriented, and there's absolutely no debate about that. In recognition of his leadership skills, his contribution towards education in Ghana, particularly in respect of his role that he has played in the government flagship program, the Free Senior High School, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, we are not surprised that he has been honored by the University of Education Uniba, the University of Cape Coast, the University of Professional Studies Accra, the conferment on him with honorary doctorate degrees. In July 2021, he was invited to join the Mission 4-7 High-Level Advisory Group, a joint initiative by UNESCO, the Sustainable Development Solution Network for Global Citizens, and the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to ask me what Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh brings to the MPP presidential ticket, I would say it brings to us a bold, confident, hard-working, result-driven, decisive, grassroots mobilizer, charismatic, patriotic, and demonstrable, incorruptible person. That simplifies who Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh is. In fact, he's a leader with clear track record of achievement, and he shares Dr. Muhammad Bawumia's vision of co-solution for our country that are responsive to the needs, opportunities, and challenges of the 21st century. In this respect, he complements our flag in many significant ways, and the two enjoy a warm personal relationship anchored in mutual respect. More importantly, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh has a great working relationship with our presidential candidate, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Muhammad Bawumia. The synergy between these two great leaders on our presidential ticket, coupled with their proven track record and transformational campaign message, will help the new patriotic party to secure a resounding third conservative electoral victory on December 7, 2024. Inshallah, by the grace of God, it is possible and we will achieve it.
And you heard the General Secretary of the governing MPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia, there, giving that breaking announcement of the NEC and NC confirming Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, current energy minister, as running mate to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the flag bearer of the NPP. Let's go to the Alisa Hotel where Nana Kwame Edua, my colleague, is there monitoring events for us. And I can imagine the kind of atmosphere that is at the Alisa Hotel right now. Can you tell us more?
Yes, Beatrice, this is Nana Kwekwedia, your colleague, actually. So the atmosphere is that of excitement, and I mean, the party faithful who were able to be there were ecstatic after the announcement that Matthew Poku Prempeh has been accepted as Dr. Bawumia's running mate for the 2024 elections in December. Initially, there were agitation. That's what we understood, or we got from the meeting, that people were asking questions about his nomination or his election by the Dr. Bawumia. But at the end of the day, it was accepted. Let me let you know that President Akufo-Addo was not supposed to be in this meeting because he was scheduled to have traveled to this morning to Congo to attend to some visits there. But we understood later that he was going to be part of the meeting, and that his presence also did a lot of work to also let the people know the reasons, because already Dr. Bawumia had met President Akufo-Addo to let him know the reasons why he is choosing Dr. Prempeh. So it was agreed, although there was, like I said, there was people, members of parliament who thought he shouldn't be on the silver platter for Dr. Prempeh, but at the end of the day, it was accepted. So, I mean, after the announcement by the General Secretary, you realize that a lot of party faithful were happy about the announcement. Beatrice.
Nana, we've seen videos from the Alisa Hotel, huge crowd there. I'm wondering whether you've been able to speak to some of them and their sentiment, their general sentiment about this big announcement today.
Yes, we were able to pick some views from some of them, and they were excited about it. They came there to to understand and to welcome the endorsement. Actually, some of them, that's what they're saying, that they think Dr. Matthew Prempeh will be a very good complement for Dr. Bawumia going into the 2024 elections, and they don't see the reason why he shouldn't be accepted by the council and the INEC. I mean, look, that they were excited and they were optimistic from the very beginning before the announcement. So it was excitement after the announcement, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Nana Kwekwedia, my colleague at the Alisa Hotel, reporting live, giving us updates behind the scenes and indeed what happened even prior to this announcement, Martin. And it's really been a big build-up to this very occasion.
Yes, and if you've been in and around the Alisa Hotel, the office of the president, and within the enclave of where TV3 or 3FM is located, you can tell that there's been huge activity, lots of vehicles moving up and down, all because of this announcement that has been made. And like Nana Kwekwedia indicated, this was coming. It was already a big public secret that Napo Axis, popularly known Nana Poku, was the one that was going to be named as the running mate of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And so we'll get to some very fine details. But for now, though, let's find out how the mood in the Ashanti region, the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party, is right now. Joining us is William Evans Inkum. I can tell from the background noise, William, that people are in very excited mood. Paint a picture for us what's happening right now.
Well, Martin, you heard right. The center of Nigeria at the forefront of the SPP constituency office. People are gathered here and they are just jubilating. It started from the auditorium of the constituency office moments after Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or the people officially, General Secretary of the party, announced that the National Council has confirmed Dr. Matthew Prempeh. That was where the jubilation started. Now, they are having a brief carnival, and exactly what we are seeing here. People are thrown in the most t-shirts, and all that they are saying is that this is much anticipated speech, and something that will go down the annals of the party's history as far as Major Town is concerned. So they are happy. But Martin, I have a thing here, Otumasa, who is an executive member of the constituency SPP. He is in charge of elections and research, and he does best. Mr. Member, thank you so much for your time. You are live on 3FM. What does this bring to the ticket? Come again. What is Nabo bringing to the table? Actually, Nabo is a wonderful man. He can perform everywhere. That's why when you go where he was taken to
the American is set.
energy perfect. I can promise Ghanaian that he can fix so many things on board. I can't mention them right now because we are still there preparing to unveil him to the public on Tuesday. After the unveiling, he will bring everything that he can bring on board. There's something special in him. That is why he was nominated by His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And with that combination, that means we are going to break the age line. Something special in him. People have been talking about his arrogance, quote and unquote. You live with him. You have been working with him. If he wants to stay here, it's not really true. The man is somebody that you can work with anywhere. He is an educated man. It's not that he doesn't go with his job. He's a disciplined man. So, like, if you do anything that is goes contrary to his position, he will just put you online. That's why people are saying he's so arrogant. He's so arrogant, and everybody that I work with loves the way he works. And I can promise Ghanaian that he's going to perform no arrogance in him, but he's a superman to take things different in Ghana. All right, so Martin, that was also that we just heard from him. He's in charge of elections and research, and I mean the jubilation continues unabated. It doesn't look like they are going to stop because more people continue to join the jubilation, and hey, you simply cannot be called there because to them it is a major peak. Martin.
All right, thank you very much, William Vansinkum. Clearly, it's going to be a very long day or probably long evening in the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, and specifically the Menchia office of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who has now been officially accepted by the National Council of the New Patriotic Party as their running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And if you're on social media, you can see that there's a particular hashtag which is trending already, the perfect pair for Ghana, which clearly indicates that the generation X and Y of the New Patriotic Party are already pushing through the social media to ensure that the name Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is drummed home into the very ears of every electorate as we build up to December 7. And clearly, the battle lines are now drawn, and we here at your Election Command Center are also very poised to ensure that we bring you every story, dot every I, cross every T, and make sure you are part of the national conversation as we seek to elect leaders for the next 4 years for the Ghanaian, for the Ghanaian populace or for the country. We have other stories for you, but this seemed to be the most topical one right now, Beatrice.
Indeed, and let me just bring you some statistics here, which I'm sure you're aware of. And this is primarily between the MPP and the NDC in the headquarters of the MPP, which is the Ashanti region. And in 2008, the NDC had 26.0% of votes in the Ashanti region, whilst the MPP had 72.5% of votes in that same region. In 2012, the NDC was able to gain some more and had 28.4% in 2012, whilst NPP had 70.9%. So obviously the votes of the NPP dwindled in 2012. When you come to 2016, the MPP regained its footing in the Ashanti region. And the NDC had 23.0%, which is actually less than what it had in 2008, which was the time former President John Ejekum Kufuor was bowing out. And then, of course, the MPP, after NDC had 23%, in 2016 had 76.3%. Let's bring you to 2020. 2020, you had NDC having 26.5%, which is actually also more than, it was like the highest they had since 2008.
Yes.
Because 2008.
Since 2012. So 2012, they had 28.4%. And in 2016, they had 23. And now they had 26.5, which is about 3.05 percentage points more from 2016 to 2020. So they had a marginal climb. However, between 2016 and 2020, the NPP saw a decline. So they dropped from 76.3% to 72.8%. So 2024 is going to be really interesting. Maybe, just maybe, because the vice presidential candidate is coming of the NPP, or the running mate is coming from the Ashanti region. They might mop up a few more people to shoot their numbers beyond the 78% mark, because they've never gone past 77 before. In 2016, they had 76. NDC, in the last few months, when John Mahama visited the Ashanti region, he pointed to some of the major projects he undertook, even though he says the Ashanti region barely votes for him. So there seem to be some, and the last global info analytics data that came in showed that voters in the Ashanti region, a part of them were undecided, saying that they are likely to swing towards the NDC. So it's going to be a very interesting play of how constituents in the Ashanti region, the entirety of the Ashanti region, are going to be turning out to vote.
Indeed, and we are going to be having a conversation with Richard Ahiagba, Director of Communications for the MPP. But, I mean, the dynamics you talk about, quite interesting, because now you also, again, have a vice presidential candidate coming from the Central region, which is a swing region, and it's going to be quite interesting, like you just said, what we will see come 2024. But let's have a quick conversation with Richard Ahiagba, Director of Communications for the governing MPP. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us on Hot Edition.
Good evening, madam. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. This is certainly a big day for the MPP. First off, how would you say, just on the surface of it, this announcement has resonated with the grassroots of the party?
Well, this voice sounds very familiar.
Beatrice, I want to tell you that we're yet to get into the country, but the indication from National Council is that this is the choice of the party. It was a unanimous endorsement, no opposition, 100% endorsement of the Vice President's nomination of Dr. Martin Opoku Prempeh, who, in the wisdom of Council, is that he's a good pair, is one that will complement the Vice President absolutely well. And given the performance of the Minister himself in his initial appointment as Minister of Education, now as Energy, he's delivered. His work is a hard worker. He's a doer, very assertive and bold individual. He will complement the ticket very well, and we are very confident, Living Council, that this will be the victory ticket for the New Patriotic Party. So on that account, I can tell you that the party, from national to region and to constituency to polling stations, are prepared and ready to canvass for the victory of this ticket.
Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh compliments Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia very well. That's what you're saying. The other question that is on the lips of many is, what does he bring to the table? I know I've heard some executives of the party saying that both he and the Vice President are workaholics, but let's just go into the specificity of it. What does Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh bring to this ticket?
Yes, sir. He's not a stranger to Ghanaian politics, so and if you conclude that he's a workaholic, a worker, is a doer, then you conclude that he will work as hard as needed to be able to ensure that the work that we started in 2017, and you are the best people to give account of what we have done in 2017, 2018, 2019, up until when COVID came and threw all the games off balance. He would come and support the Vice President to deliver. And on the specific question of what Martin Opoku Prempeh brings to the ticket, you know, his delivery in Ministry of Education when it came, the flagship free SHS policy, that is something people thought could not be done, but he came and got it done. Now, it's instructive to make the point that, you know, in 2016, when the NDC was living, this economy was in tatters. The economy had collapsed. We're regressing so fast that nobody thought that we could implement the free SHS policy. We didn't wait for another year. We didn't wait for 2 years or 3 years. We did so in the first year, in September of 2017. That is the leadership he brings. But beyond that, I think because it's election, apart from his record, which is well known in this country in all the public service that he's done, he's been an MP since 2009, so his service and work with the people of Ghana is well documented in Parliament and in his own constituencies. He served also as the Minister for Education and Energy. That is publicly documented. But what he brings to the ticket is his dynamism, his compassion. If you go anywhere and ask about Martin Opoku Prempeh, one thing he's known for, apart from everything else, is that he is a giver. He is a compassionate individual, one who extends opportunity to people by supporting them. That, I think Ghana needs one who understands, who knows and can feel the pain of people. And I think that value, that compassion, that organic, natural, not pretentious, he's not a pretentious giver. He's naturally a giver. And that tells you that if he's in charge, if he's supporting the Vice President in delivering for this country, the public purse will be protected, and the cost of it will be for the good of the people. So he brings so much more to the table. But for our party, we think that he will help energize the base of our party. The party wants him, and that's how come National Council endorsed him resoundly today. And when he gets out there to canvass, I think you will see the difference that will make. So what he brings to the table, you'll begin to see it when he gets on the campaign trail. But we are confident and very excited about this nomination.
Ms. Anyagba, I'm sure you will not deny the concerns raised by others that in as much as you say that he compliments Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia very well, there are also concerns about character and personality traits that may end up clashing. Some even have gone to the extent of a Rollins-Aka kind of scenario that we may possibly see. How is the MPP going to work around this to ensure that, these doom predictions, as it were, don't come to pass?
I am not aware of any of those suppositions. But in this country, there is always this tendency of people mistaking assertive and bold people to be arrogant. Dr. Matopogu Prebe, I just told you, one who is generous. You just need to encounter him. He's generous. There's a difference, a clear line between being assertive, bold, and arrogant. An arrogant person is not a compassionate person. An arrogant person is not a caring person. It disregards people, doesn't respect people. You cannot be an arrogant person and be a caring and compassionate person. The testament about him as a caring person, as a giver, I don't have to tell you. Most people would tell you that. That's one of the things that our party wants. That's one of the things that our country needs, a compassionate leader, one who would care beyond himself and look and see what do my countrymen need and what do they deserve and what can I do to improve their lot. And that is what it brings. So those who are chatting about arrogance and the rest, that's their politics. That's what they will say. Even if they bring Jesus, they will say Jesus is arrogant. And in fact, that was said about Jesus. So my point to you is that conversation, you will hear it. Our focus is that the Napo we know, it would work. In fact, I don't know, your cameras were in, or if they picked that soundbite from him. His message to council was clear, that he's coming and he's going to work with a flag bearer as the running mate. And so therefore, our understanding is clear that we have a pair that would work together and we will stand solidly behind them for the victory that the NPP deserves on December 7th.
Mr. Anyagba, this is Martin Asiedu. I'm here with Beatrice, and I just want to throw in one or two questions. And I'm starting from the point of, some concerns being raised by some NPP MPs who are saying that they know the party would ask Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh to come to their constituencies and go around the country to campaign. Now that they seem to have some disagreement or do not entirely support Napo, as we all call him, how are you working to ensure that at least when he goes to any constituency, there is that cordiality to ensure that people who are going to be given a certain message of unity actually see it and is not an artificial sort of unity being put forward?
Well, our party has a constitution, and that constitution is clear that as a member of the party, you support the party's decision, privately and publicly. So anybody that you have heard said anything before today's endorsement, will not repeat same. And this is because it's a democracy that we all have subscribed to a certain direction for our party. And so I guarantee you that the question will not arise going forward wherever that we need and the plan directs that we go and campaign. Martin Opoku Prempeh pairing with his vice, either they are going together or going separately. He will go to every constituency. And our disposition is that we will canvass for every single vote. We'll go everywhere to ask for the vote because we believe that democracy vests power in the people, and to have that power, we have to go to the people. So yes, the two will lead us, and there will be no constituency that he will not be able to go to. All our MPs, the majority leader was in council today, and he spoke for all our MPs, and it was clear and sound that the parliamentary party is solidly behind the nomination of Dr. Martin Opoku Prempeh. So there isn't any such worry to want to address. And as I said from the outset, anybody who may have expressed following today's activity in National Council's adoption of a nomination would not repeat same.
Right. And before you take leave of us, so what happens now? I mean, there seems to be this excitement. Every party member is excited that finally they know the pair leading them into the elections. What's the plan of the party from now?
Well, from now on, our preoccupation is how we're going to win the election. So quickly, on Tuesday, the Vice President, with his running mate, will be visiting Kumasi to pay courtesy call on the 24, Asiedu the 2nd. Following that meeting and consultation with him, we'll go, I think, around 2 p.m. That same day on Tuesday the 9th to Jubilee Park to formally outdoor our running mate and the Vice President, who is our flag bearer. And so from there on, then our campaign will unfold as the second phase of our campaign will unfold till victory on December 7th.
Right. Thank you so much. I certainly will be engaging you as the time, as we all build up to December 7th. Thank you for making time to speak with us. Richard Anyagba, who is the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party.
And Martin, we have on the line also with us Dr. Jonathan Asantewotire. He's a political analyst and lecturer at UCC. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice.
Obviously, this isn't a surprise to you. The announcement has officially been made, and you've already started hearing the narrative being built around Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Do you have any change of mind as regards your perception of him and what you believe he brings to this ticket?
Well, let me say good evening to your listeners. As to the change of mind, well, I doubt. Human characteristics are not built daily. It is something that, has been part of you as you go along. And in politics, for example, you may have your handlers who will definitely have to coach you and ensure that you stick to, some particular lines of communication. But if something else happens and somebody gets under his skin, the real feature will definitely come out. But I just pray that he will be able to manage himself, because I've heard some NPP groups say that, for example, if Dr. Napo speaks, it will have to take about 3 months to do the cleansing. That particular statement is quite instructive. Be that as it may, he's been nominated and duly appointed as a running mate, and so I think that is where it is, and they will have to work hard in order to change the perception and the narrative about him.
They have to work hard. How do you expect them to do so? Because I remember before President Akufo-Addo finally got the nod of Ghanaians, there had to be a lot of communication around him that he wasn't arrogant and all of those things around him. How do you think the party can do same for Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh to ensure a seamless, election, and as they are desiring break the 8, as it were?
That is only if you will allow himself to be handled properly by his handlers. But if he gets into his real element, then I'm sorry, it's not going to work. You see, in the case of Mr. Akufo-Addo, His Excellency the President, he had a certain personality by name Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was not so much into the political scene. And that in itself, served as some kind of advantage. And so when he was coming up using those lectures, which was more or less like a novel, many were those who bought into it. And that particular charisma overshadowed the frailties of President Akufo-Addo. And that's the more reason why they had such a victory. Here is the case. We are talking about Dr. Napo, who has been described by Mr. Appiah to be honorable. Like, we want someone who will submit to the presidency. And so the point is that he will have to, understand that he finds himself in a new position. And everything you say holds some kind of value. And people will consider that, do introspective analysis of the things that you say and things that is not even said. And so that is the more reason why If he allows himself to be properly handled by his handlers, that could be a plus for him. But as to whether that will culminate in the ultimate victory, only time will tell.
We spoke to Richard Ahiagba a while ago. He talked about the need for the party to consolidate votes across the country. Obviously, with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia coming from the northern region, it may not be far-fetched to believe that you have a lot more of people coming from the northern part of the country voting for the NPP. And also, Ashanti region, yes, it's already the stronghold of the party, but having a vice presidential candidate could add some more, a bit more of vote for the NPP. How do you think the party really can go about this? Or do you even believe that with the current situation of the economy and the country, people would still go by that narrative of, okay, we have somebody from the north and from the Ashanti region?
Changing the narrative in the north will be very difficult. It doesn't even matter if Dr. Bawumia is the one who is the presidential candidate of the NPP coming from the north. Mr. Mahama also comes from the north. But inherently, the northern stock of the country have identified themselves with the NDC so many years ago through the instrumentality of Mr. Rawlings. And the kinds of things that he did to bring them into a limelight is something that they feel at home with the NDC more than the NPP. Now, there is some new trajectory, as it were, because Dr. Bawumia, came into the limelight and he appears to be given that particular, room to operate, and to the point that he's become a flag bearer. As to whether that will significantly impact, the elections, I still have my doubt. With the issue of the Ashanti and, of course, being a running mate for that matter, every elections, have its what's it called, dynamics. And the 2024 dynamics quite different, because now you have, a personality like Alan, who is just around the corner, pulling a certain number of the electorate, so to speak, who are disgruntled, who are apathetic against the party in government, and you have Cheddar equally making waves with the youth. And so the impact that Dr. Napo is supposed to have, that in itself would dwindle. Quite apart from that, he himself, can he traverse the party? Is he an attractive package for those outside or without the party? That is something that I doubt as well. He may be popular, overwhelmingly popular within the party, but that is the kind of consideration that they ought to have had before choosing. Does he stand a chance of attracting those outside the party? And who are those people? Those who are floating voters, those who are not aligned, those who are undecided. You see, those who are neutrals and the new entrants, so to speak. Does he have what it takes to do so? I doubt. Because that is where the character of pride, how prideful he is and arrogant that he is, talking down to people, those characteristics will not inure to the advantage of Dr. Bawumia and that of Dr. Napo. It will really go against him. And people will pitch those characteristics with that of Professor Nana Pokajiman, who appears quite untainted. He's not, bad-mouthed anybody in the public domain. He's not talked down to anyone. The gender factor will equally, go against the MPP for the time being, because some of us felt that if for nothing at all, they should have looked within the party.
Right, Dr. Santiatri, sorry for butting in. This is Martin, Asiedu Date. And, when we spoke to Richard Ahiagba, he raised a number of, he used some words to describe Napo. And it could be because those who are closer to him, and, there is a media perception of an individual, and then there are those who are close to the person who also have a different narrative, or they see the person through different lenses. He says he's a compassionate giver. He's someone who is loved by the close compatriots or persons within the party. A number of these other words being used are at variance with what has been bandied about he being arrogant and talking down on people. So from a neutral perspective, how do you foresee all of this playing out? Which side do you think would win at the end of the day?
You mean the side of what?
Those who are close and are party members say that he is totally different from the perception that we seem to have about him, because personally, and even a number of my colleagues, we've not dealt with him, so we've also heard. And those who are close to him say that he is totally different from what we keep saying, we have heard. Same was said about Nana Akufo-Addo when he started the campaign. People said he was, he always sat on his high horses and talked down on people, but eventually was able to shed off all of that public perception and became president. And so I'm asking that from the neutral position, how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, Martin, you see, so in effect, what Mr. Akufo-Addo did was to hide those characteristics. And those characteristics were overshadowed by the skills that Dr. Bawumia brought on board. But as we speak now, does President Akufo-Addo come to you as someone who is still not prideful, who is still not arrogant, is not displaying it about, beckoning chiefs to rise, to the effect that his bodyguard has the guts to do same? So you see, those characteristics, he hated that. But of course, people were equally angry with the NDC government because of do so persistently, though it was solved. But people got angry. They did not look at those things. They just overlooked those things, right? And they went ahead and voted. And Dr. Bawumia played a key role. Therefore, I see that, look, in your private, what you do in your private affair is what you do in your private affair. When you become a public figure, your language, your body language, facial gestures, people monitor that, they read meanings into that. You ought to be very careful. Now, if, for example, you go about in some kind of tribal faction, speak anyhow to the people of Keta, if they go and do their sea defense, they are going to organize so and so, then somebody asks you of Doomsday timetable, your response.
Okay.
And you see, all this while, he knew that his name had already been bandied about as someone who was leading the pack to become the running mate.
Right.
What's the more reason why he ought to have been careful? So those characteristics, he can hide it.
Okay.
But it will still come out. It will come to play. Because that is his nature. So he doesn't buy food for me. He doesn't feed me. If I go out there and vote for him, it is not because he's fed me.
Okay.
And because he's charitable. What you do in the public domain, and those who have known him, I don't know him from close range.
Right.
But he doesn't come to me as someone who is a humble person. It doesn't come to me as that.
Look,
you see,
clearly it's early days yet. I mean, they have just announced him. So as we all build up to the elections, we'll definitely be engaging you some more for your expert thoughts on politics. Thank you very much. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is a political analyst. Thank you for your time. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition, live from our studio here at Adesanwe in Accra. And if you're just joining us, the big story today is that Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has been officially named as the running mate of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. So clearly, now we know the pair going to represent the NPP in the 2024 December elections. And we're still picking some more thoughts on how all of this means for our entire body politics. And also, as we build up to 2024 December, what would influence your decision to vote for or against a particular pair? For the NDC, we know it's John Dramani Mahama and Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman. For the NPP, now it is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. Keep your messages also coming in. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts as we go on with the show.
Indeed, and we'll be getting a reaction from the opposition NDC as well to this announcement. But let's remind our listeners again of that announcement that was made by the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong, about Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, Energy Minister, becoming the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
See that in the last couple of weeks and months, some part of the country did face some power challenges. But the good news is that, unlike in the past, particularly under His Excellency Dramani Mahama, where he slept in darkness for over 4 years, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh ensured that the recent power challenges we experienced did not last beyond 3 months. It's indeed result-oriented, and there's absolutely no debate about that. In recognition of his leadership skills, his contribution towards education in Ghana, particularly in respect of his role that he has played in the government flagship program, the Free Senior High School, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, we are not surprised that he has been honored by the University of Education in Iba, the University of Cape Coast, the University of Professional Studies Accra, the conferment on him with honorary doctorate degrees. In July 2021, he was invited to join the Mission 4-7 High-Level Advisory Group, a joint initiative by UNESCO, the Sustainable Development Solution Network for Global Citizens, and the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to ask me what Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh brings to the MPP presidential ticket, I would say it brings to us a bold, confident, hard-working, result-driven, decisive, grassroots mobilizer, charismatic, patriotic, and demonstrable, incorruptible person. That simplifies who Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is.
You heard the General Secretary of the governing MPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong.
Let's swing to the camp of the main opposition, the National Democratic Congress. Joining us on the phone now is Mahdi Jibril, who is the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC. Mr. Jibril, good evening to you. Thank you for your time. Hello, can you hear me?
You.
Yes.
I can hear you. Thank you.
Great. We are told that there is chaos in the camp of the NDC right now after the name of Napo was confirmed, and there is confusion. Many of you are running helter-skelter. Is that the case? Are you scared that finally we know that he's pairing with Dr. Bawumia to go to the elections?
I will say good evening to your listeners this evening. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who is called Napo, he contested parliamentary constituency elections in Manchester, isn't it?
Yes.
And contested with NDC candidates. Even in Manchester, where he comes from, the NDC Ghana votes in that constituency with even a settler, not indigenous of Ashanti region. Okay? Not an indigenous, a settler. He struggled. So, coming to this stage where the MPP who said they have the men, apparently is a guru boys that they have. Out of this, they choose the best arrogant person to partner a liar. And you say we should be worried.
So I mean,
to the General Secretary, he mentioned that they want somebody who they say is grassroots mobilizer. So now he's going to work for Nana B, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, so that is the work. That's the rate the MPP has given to Napo. That is a more organizer than the running mate. They themselves have reduced him to organizer because the organizer is not organizer. So they want an organizer.
Okay. No, but Jibril, are you not, watering down the possibility?
Person who got to mobilize is an organizer in terms of a party politics.
No, but any politician should be able to mobilize grassroots. So you cannot dismiss the fact that for someone who's won elections since 2008 and still in parliament, he definitely must have been able to do some grassroots work, isn't
it? The organization Ashanti region, the NDC improved in their performance in Ashanti region, 350,000.
Per the last polls, yes.
Yeah, the last polls. So what is he bringing new in it, on all the things that you are talking about? What magic is Napo even has done in Ashanti region as NDC?
So Madi, should it be our understanding that, you are not just doing politics and opposing the fact that he has some clout he's adding to Dr. Bawumia's ticket, but you believe that they really would not be able to do anything outstanding going into the December elections?
You see, in the first place, the MPP and Bawumia have mentioned that the running mate doesn't add up to anything, isn't it? Are they now value a running mate to a candidate? And when they are wasting all the time of now that, oh no, you don't need a running mate because the running mate quality doesn't add up to a flag bearer. So they are interested in that. However, who is Napo that it's to worry the NDC when a candidate like this going to elections one-on-one against our running mate, Professor Nana? Who is he?
Mr. Jibril, Beatrice here, you think that a party that has won 2 consecutive elections will just take a selection of a running mate that lightly, that you're saying even in his area when somebody else came, he couldn't do much? You think the MPP will do that? I don't want to interpret your argument as just being a mere political
we
argument.
also won 2 elections and chose a running mate. Or did you win? This is the first time this going for elections. But I'm saying the first election, they touted that they won by a massive vote in Ashanti region. The same people were there and then reduced their vote in Ashanti region. Now going into election 2024, when you have the candidate who is not credible, Bawumia, a liar, going to bring a candidate, now you're going to bring an arrogant person to join him. Who wants all the time recently when we are in challenge of doom so?
Mr. Jibril.
He told the chiefs of Ashanti region, that they should go and prepare their own timetable for themselves.
Mr. Jibril, you think it's accurate for you to call the vice president a liar without evidence? Yes, he might not have been able to manage the economy as he campaigned for, but does that tantamount to he being a liar?
What is more than what Bawumia is doing that you call him a liar? He told you that he will arrest dollar. Now the dollar is up there. Didn't he lie to you? He promised Ghanaians and people queue to go and vote for him that every year he will give Ghana $1 million, constituency $1 million. And did MPP or Bawumia give to you? Didn't he lie to you? So how will you describe the person who told you that he will give you $1 million every year? So go and vote. Today he's not giving you. How will you describe it?
Is that not the case that just like with all politicians, when you want to win power, well, you're also a politician. You know that when you need power, you would say anything just to convince the electorate to vote for you. Won't you put that in that same category?
I'm saying that we are dealing with somebody who says it's campaign on issues based on that who voted for him in 2016. And today, we are here. He's not even talking about that $1 million to the constituency. So he's a liar. For us, we know he's a liar. And a joker. As for joking, you know that you can confirm. He himself confirmed that he met Reverend fathers and told them that, he will not tax churches. Then he went to another place and said he's a joker. Don't take him serious. So then people realized that because there's a joker and a liar, let's bring somebody who party people will have confidence to vote for him. It is not Ghanaians. In fact, according to the General Secretary of the MPP, he will bring somebody who party people likes him.
not because Ghanaians will vote for the MPP.
So let me bring in, just to wrap up our conversation, let me bring in something to emphasize the argument I was making, that when it comes to politicians, you would say anything because you won't vote. Recently, we heard the running mate to John Mahama, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, saying that it was the NDC that brought free senior high school. I was in this country when the NDC campaigned against the free senior high school in the run-up to the 2016 elections. Won't you call that lying too?
Oh, I think that maybe you are also not in the country. Did we accuse it? What we're saying is that we are doing progressive. In fact, when MPP came to power in 2017, they did progressive. Do you agree with that? Because those who are second year and third year, did MPP give them free education?
What's the point you're making?
They were doing progressive with that because they say they cannot take care of everybody. So they are doing the only first step. It took them 3 years before everybody went through. So isn't it a progressive? What they came to meet, were they paying the full school fees?
So,
if the MPP even confirmed and confirmed that what the NDC started, they would have done it better. That's what they said.
So
you see, now look at what Baumia told you, $1 million, which you say is a liar. You are only comparing with now that we say we started free education. Didn't we start? If I'm traveling to Kumasi and I move the car from Accra to Sawan, and you join the car, you pick the car, which I'm driving from 20 kilometers per hour to Sawan, and you drove the car 100 kilometers per hour to Kumasi, didn't I start the journey with you?
So let's wrap up our conversation. Essentially, what you're saying is that the confirmation of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia doesn't move the NDC.
No, because even the whole party as such, it doesn't move the NDC at anything.
We'll end it here. Thank you very much. And that was Mahdi Jibril. He's Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. Martin, we're just having snippets of what we are to see when we draw closer to December 7th.
Certainly. And, the fact that the NDC or some of the voices we are hearing from the NDC totally dismiss the fact that, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is bringing something a bit more value to the ticket of the NPP is interesting. And clearly there is the bit of politics that they are doing, which is total dismissal, don't mind them, or they are, and then there's the reality of the fact that, well, they need to either re-strategize or up their game to ensure that it really doesn't make any dent, or they are not able to gain any further currency going into the December elections. But we will see. As your election command center, we've always told you that if it does happen, we will be there and update you as and when it does. You're listening to Hot Edition 92.7 is the station. 3FM stories we've brought to you so far has been the big one that broke a few, let's say about an hour and a half ago, which is that the New Patriotic Party have now confirmed their ticket for the December 2024 elections. And still to come, we have some other big stories, including the fact that the Chief Justice has dismissed a petition that sought to get the office of the Special Prosecutor, or the Special Prosecutor, I should say, Kesia Jabing, out of office. She has dismissed it. We have details of that and more in a jiffy.
And we'll be bringing you business very shortly. Menoful is standing by, but ahead of that, step into the world of Dewa 539 for your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. With Dewa Direct, dial *446#. Pick 1 to 39 and win 20 times, 40 times, or 400 times your stake, and win cash every evening at 7 p.m. and on Sundays at 6 p.m. Early birds love Dewa Chop Money. At 10 a.m., dial *446#, choose 1 to 39 and win 20 times, 40 times, or 400 times. Play at Dewa/N la.com or dial *446#. Need help? Call 055 6259 249 or 053 2479 879. Dewa Afa.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Business News on Hot edition. Coming up, government makes progress on medium-term wage negotiations with organized labor in efforts to easing fiscal strain. My name is Menu Afo. We have details of this and more coming up shortly. Straight to our first story, and the Ministry of Finance has announced significant progress in reaching an agreement with organized labor to negotiate wage adjustments over medium term, providing the government with some fiscal space. According to Director of Economic Strategy and Research Division, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu, locking in wage adjustments for several years could substantially reduce labor costs for the country. This announcement comes amidst calls for government to reduce the country's wage bill, which currently consumes around 50% of total domestic revenue. The Ministry of Finance made this known during a quarterly economic roundtable aimed at finding lasting solutions to the country's debt challenges.
Every 1 percentage point increase in the base pay on public servants who are on the single spine salary structure generates a cost of about 500 million Ghana cedis, every 1 percentage increase. So what this means is that if you're able to put a framework where you agree with organized labor and negotiate wage adjustments within fiscal limits, you make fantastic savings. In Ghana currently, we negotiate annual wages, and that's very costly to government. We have to do that within a medium-term perspective, like in other jurisdictions, so that you can lock in wage adjustments over 2 or 3 years, and so that doesn't become very costly. And then you need to weave in the productivity part, because once you weave in the productivity part, then the wage increases can go according to productivity.
Well, you heard the voice of Director of Economic Strategy and Research Division of the Finance Ministry, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu there. Meanwhile, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu also stated that the Finance Ministry is collaborating with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to reform Cocoa Board and ensure its profitability.
We are working together with the Ministry of Agric to ensure that Cocoa Board is put on the radar and is being monitored to ensure, we improve its operational efficiency and financial viability. So last year, for example, we worked together with Cocoa Board itself, with Ministry of Agric, to develop a Cocoa Board turnaround strategy. And that turnaround strategy had, one, phasing out of quasi-fiscal expenditure. So as I speak with you now, Cocoa Board is phasing out its road construction. You know, Cocoa Board used to undertake cocoa roads. And they were doing that for a good reason. The reason was to ensure that they go into cocoa roads, ensure the roads are okay for cocoa products to be moved from one center to another, so that we can get some more value from cocoa.
Director of Economic Strategy and Research Division at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu there. Away from that, Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Kachi, is emphasizing the importance of a more refined and comprehensive analysis of economic indicators to accurately assess the state of the country's economy. He observes that simply comparing year-on-year and month-on-month figures may not provide a complete picture. The economist notes a more detailed analysis that considers the impact on individuals and businesses is essential to understand the true health of the economy.
All these happenings in the economy has implication for cost, has implication for the business environment, have implication for the cost of living situation in the country, has implication for jobs, and have implication for new opportunities for our people. So if inflation reduced from 53% to around 23%, what is the effect on costs? What is the effect on prices? What is the effect on job situation? What is the effect of the business environment? That is what people resonate with. So if you come and say inflation has fallen from 53% to 23%, and then the question is, and so what?
then people start taking prices of goods and services. People start looking at their cost structure, whether their cost structure has changed in a manner that they like. People will now look at whether they are able to expand or there is prospect for new opportunity to take. In fact, when you read Article 36 of the Constitution in Clause 1, it tells us that the essence of economic management is to ensure maximum happiness for people to get sound jobs and for us to be able to take care of the vulnerable in society.
That was Dean of University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Gachi, bringing us to the end of Business News on Hot Edition. For more stories, please check out our website on 3news.com. I am Menu. Do stay tuned. Bill is on standby with the sports news.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on a 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Ishen, and we're going to start off from the AFCON qualifiers because earlier today, the 2025 AFCON qualifiers were held in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Ghana have been placed in Group F alongside Angola, Niger, and Sudan. Now, Ghana versus Sudan is a very, very big one because it will be Otuado versus James Kwesi Appiah, who was the coach of the Black Stars during the 2014 World Cup and the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. And we had a chat with him. 3 Sports had an exclusive chat with him, and this is what he had to say after finding out that he will face Ghana in the AFCON 2025 qualifiers.
It's really important that any team that you're meeting, you prepare very well and make sure you have a right team, to try and win the day. And personally, I also think and hope that Ghana and Sudan qualify in that group.
Personally, he hopes Ghana and Sudan qualify from that group. And the first 2 teams to top the group would qualify to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. So in all, 48 teams were pitted in 12 groups. And so the top 2 in each group will qualify, which means 24 teams will compete in the 2025 AFCON in Morocco. Now, the qualifiers will start in September this year and end in November this year. So all 6 matches will be played in a span of about 3 to 4 months to see who qualifies to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. But there is a bit of a school of thought here. There's a number of people who are thinking that Kwesi Appiah is working under a conflict of interest because he's currently a member of the executive committee of the Ghana Football Association because he's a technical director of Asante Kotoko and he's currently the head coach of Sudan's national team as well. Now, former Black Stars player Augustine Anefo believes that this dual role that he holds is a very problematic situation.
And strangely, he's a member of the Executive Council of the FA. I've always had an issue with this since he was appointed as the coach of Sudan. I said it severally. Now, what about if Ghana should meet Sudan in a qualifier? And then now we have it here now. So, I don't know whether you can call it conflict of interest or what. Because the moment that he was appointed the coach of Sudan, something should have been done by the FA. And now we are here.
We are indeed here. Those were the words of Augustina Hinfo, who was a former Black Stars player. Now moving on to Euro 2024. On Friday, we have a super Friday because we have two top fixtures to give to you. Portugal will be facing France and Germany will be facing Spain. Those are the two big fixtures that we have on Friday, and only two teams from these fixtures will qualify to the semi-finals of Euro 2024. Now we have a short preview ahead of these games.
Now, when I look at the whole quarter-final lineup, it reminds me of something I've been saying. The Euros rarely does surprises. I know of Greece in 2004 when they won with nobody expecting them to, and Denmark in 92. But generally at the Euros, the big boys always step up and always dominate games. And you saw how Netherlands completely turned around their poor group stage performance and were utterly dominant against Romania. We've seen everything going forward. England, despite not playing well, reaching the next round. And for me, that sums up everything. And that's why I think that ultimately it will be either one of France, one of Germany, one of Spain who will win the competition, because these three teams have the firepower, the personnel, and the individual players to be able to pull something out when the going gets tough.
That was the voice of the general manager of MG Sports, Michael Otieje. He believes that one of the big boys will go on to win the competition. And before I do go, we will talk about Wimbledon, where Novak Djokovic earlier today defeated British tennis player Fernley by 3-1 to win his game. And Holger Rune also defeated Seyboth by 3-1 as well to also win. And so these two have moved on to the next round in Wimbledon. But we'll give you further Wimbledon updates tomorrow morning at 7:40 a.m. kind courtesy BBC. For 5 solid minutes, you get updates on the Wimbledon, one of the biggest tennis events in the world. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Shen, and of course Beatrice is on standby with more.
Early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiambofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer from the shots, from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my way to a knockout, like Africa's greatest boxer, Azuma Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up. What makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to extensive analysis, insights, and highlights.
So join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on 3FM 92.7 as we serve you the most satisfying buffet in the world of sports. The 3 Sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in sports on Sports Ultras.
Radio Development Show Host of the Year, 2016-2017.
And the winner is John Hughes. Check.
Hi, my name is Johnny Hughes, your community rights advocate, and I'm still on the quest to bring smiles into your communities with Community Connect on 3FM 92.7. Join me this and every Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 3FM, and together we will solve the problems bothering your communities.
I know your program is a program that always get a result. Myself, I'm a witness to that.
What can we do to help your community today in terms of education, health, sanitation, security, and all the issues in between from your community's perspective? Tune in to Community Connect every Friday morning at 9 a.m. as we get interactive live on radio and on Twitter at 3FM 927 and on Facebook at 3FM 92.7. Community Connect, helping solve your community problems.
And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice. I'm doing this with
Martin Asiedu Date.
And our top story this hour, as you might have heard us if you joined us from the beginning of the program, the NPP has confirmed Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as a running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the party's flag bearer and the current vice president of the country. And we'll be bringing you analysis, Martin.
Certainly, we've crisscrossed the country. We've been to the Ashanti region, the home grounds of the New Patriotic Party, the home constituency of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, and then also went into the camp of the NDC to find out what this means for them in terms of planning and strategy going into the December 7 elections. They totally dismissed it, made it look like it means nothing. However, you could tell from some of the commentary that they are also critically analyzing how they can approach this going into the elections.
Indeed, let's bring you some other issues and to Parliament now, where the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, has directed the ad hoc committee on the IGP leaked tape to go back and complete its work following disagreements on the final report. Let's listen to the Speaker as he spoke on the floor in his seat actually today.
Of the committee was concerned. Mr. Speaker, they work in the sense that the chairman did not have an original vote, and therefore this report is unanimous. It's the unanimous verdict of the members who had original voting rights. And so the chairman's refusal to sign, because it is visible on the report that he did not sign this report, but that is inconsequential because this is a unanimous verdict.
There was a very serious matter. What was a serious matter that came before the committee? It was that some Nigerians have been executed under the mango tree at the police headquarters at the instance of the current IGP. It was said on oath. That was Superintendent Asari. And what was the source of the information? Superintendent Asari says that his source of the information is Jelly, ASP Jelly, who is the station manager of the police headquarters. And now he has informed him that before the individuals were shot, he took photographs of them. Now, if you say that what Asari said is hearsay, what about the fact that the lawyer of Asari also confirmed that in his chambers, Jelly was recorded as witnessing this? And then some members of the committee said, no, we would not invite a man who says he wants to come and testify regarding extrajudicial killing. Madam Speaker, I consider this as an abnegation of duty, a serious, a grievous allegation of this nature. So the question is, what is the cost to the members of the committee who said Jelly should not be invited?
There was unanimity, as evidenced by the signatures of 5 of the members of the committee who had original votes as provided for under the standing orders of the House 2000. But in respect of matters to do with the invitation to ASP Jalil to appear as a witness, we call for a division. I have the verbatim report of the committee here, and the outcome was 3-2.
Honorable members, it's very clear that the committee has not completed the job. And so I will direct that we suspend further consideration of this matter. We want to caution, I want to caution all members on this matter. This matter is of such grave consequences to not only Ghana, but also to our brotherly and sisterly countries, particularly Nigeria. And so please desist from discussions of this matter outside the House.
And you heard the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, wrapping that interaction that took place on the floor of the House today, and obviously subsequently the Speaker directing the ad hoc committee on the IGP leaked tape to go back and complete its work over the disagreement on this report. The chairman says he has his own version of the report.
It's quite surprising, really. The Speaker simply has just told them to go and cook whatever beef they have and come back to the floor with one report, because the chair of the committee says he has his own report, which is different. We are yet to see it, though, but clearly it seems different from what the committee, both sides had agreed that this is the report, but the chair alone says that he disagrees and has a different one. We'll definitely be updating our.
You heard James Agalga there. He seems to say that, suggest that the report that is already out is the one.
Is the main one that everyone should work with. But I mean, since the Speaker has directed, it puts a pause on the current report that James Agalga was talking about, and definitely we only then have to wait for whichever one Parliament will say is the final report from the ad hoc committee. In other news this evening, the National Democratic Congress has asked President Akufo-Addo to immediately halt his plans to appoint 5 more judges to the Supreme Court. General Secretary Fifi Kwete at a news conference in Accra accused the President and the Chief Justice of conspiring, which he says is illegal and violates the 1992 Constitution. Evelyn Tingma was at the press conference and has come through with this report. I will definitely bring you that report in subsequent bulletins. But the bottom line is that the NDC, following a list of 5 new judges that came into the public domain, that they were just nominees for the Supreme Court position. The NDC says they totally disagree, and it is a capture of the judiciary or a conspiracy to circumvent the activities of the judiciary, saying that is an affront to the democracy we have. And we have the report ready, let's listen to what exactly Fifi Kwete, the chair of the NDC, the General Secretary, I should say, of the NDC, has been saying.
By an administration that has shown a blatant disregard for the rule of law
and the sanctity of our independent institutions. It is our moral duty to defend our country. We need to unite under a common cause to fight to preserve the integrity of our judiciary and the very soul of our democracy. It will surprise you to know that President Akufo-Addo, who has already packed the Supreme Court with an unprecedented 15 appointments, is now conspiring with the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokuno, to add 5 more justices to our highest courts. This isn't just a political maneuver of an already failed president. It is also an assault on our democracy, a betrayal of public trusts, and a direct threat to the integrity of our judicial system.
And that's Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress.
Let's bring you some more here on Hot Edition. And this evening, the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokuno has dismissed the petition which was seeking the removal of the Special Prosecutor Kisia Jabing from office. In a letter dated April 30, 2024, Martin Amidu requested President Akufo-Addo to dismiss Kisia Jabing. The petition was forwarded to the Chief Justice for a determination of whether or not a prima facie case can be determined. Martin Amidu was demanding the removal of Kisia Jabing on grounds that he has violated citizens' right to information, violated citizens' rights through arrest and detentions, abused judges and the administration of justice, engaged in procurement breaches and engaged in appointment breaches. And he's put all of these in a petition. You know his epistle already.
Copious.
Yes.
Right up.
There are details of that on 3news.com. Martin, I know a lot of people have been sending us a lot of messages.
Let's bring you some of your messages. And Kwame Jandam says, double jeopardy for Bawumia and the NPP. This excessively arrogant Napo who has been blatantly imposed on Bawumia could potentially be the downfall of Bawumia's political career. It is obvious that Bawumia was coerced to pick Napo and that Napo was forced on him. Okay, so, wow, he sent a very lengthy one, but we can leave it there. Kojoa Sempa Furniture Work says, good evening to your listeners from Kojoa Sempa. Well, just a greeting, yeah. Some have actually also come on to say it is possible, amen and amen, opposition straight. NPP foot soldiers need, very, some unsavory words also in the mix of the messages that are coming. So, Nana Ya Santi says, why are you insulting people? You can just post your comment and leave it there. Don't insult on these platforms. Okay. Rejoice Mali says, life is always beautiful when you have a good health. For almost 4 years I've been, okay, it's totally different. He's talking about HIV AIDS. Wow. So, I mean, majority of you have just been sharing your thoughts on the fact that the NPP have finally decided on who is leading the party to the elections, and some, in as much as you disagree, have also shared your thoughts, and we like the fact that you are all part of the national discourse as we build up to December 7, 2024, where Ghana turns up to vote for the next leadership for the next 4 years.
I like your reaction to the HIV message.
Out of the blue.
And that will be it for Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date.
Thank you so much for joining us. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.